There is an old saying that one should not judge another unless you have walked a mile in their shoes. I'm not sure where that statement originated, yet all of us here today can identify with it. Those individuals who know us the best, or who we know the best, are the people who have walked in a similar path as we have. But sometimes we are quick to judge others. In today's gospel, Jesus is explaining how disciples need to handle within the community through the process of forgiveness. There is one thing that all of us knows about and have even experienced. Each has been there before, and in many cases, in similar kinds of ways. That thing we all have in common is sin. All of us has tasted it, and even though we try very hard, we'll probably taste it again. It is part of our human nature. In the first part of today's gospel reading, the steps to follow to live a sin-free life appear to be very straightforward and clear-cut. Maybe even those steps are marching orders for whoever wants to be the sin police. But for many of us who may be habitual sinners, it may seem hopeless, as there is not a way out of the muddy waters we may find ourselves swimming in sometimes. But the end of our gospel reading has some immense healing powers for us to focus on today. Jesus knows that in order for us to travel this journey of life, that we need each other. And in order for us to live in harmony, Jesus tells us exactly what to do. But first, let's look at our second reading. In this reading, St. Paul, in his letter to the Romans, states that all the commandments fall after the commandment, love your neighbor as yourself. We have even heard this exact saying from Jesus himself in Matthew 22:36-40, when one of the scribes questioned Jesus about which is the greatest commandment. When Jesus is questioned, he replies, "You should love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is just like it. You should love your neighbor as yourself. On these two, all the other commandments, laws, and precepts are hinged." You see, the way I'm forced to understand this is that if we call ourselves Catholics, and this is a universal concept, then everyone else is our brothers and sisters. My friends, this even includes non-Catholics, non-believers, sinners, and everyone else in our world. Jesus clearly explains this in the parable of the Good Samaritan, which we have all heard before. Jesus knows exactly what we do to each other and what we sometimes do to ourselves. He also knows that we need to heal and restore relationships with others in order to be all we can be in God's healthy, spiritually loving family. I believe that most of us hate confrontation. When we see wrongdoing in our world, we turn our head and pretend it's not happening. I think that is true in the United States and in most of the modern developed world. I believe this happened throughout history, and if one was to take an honest look back through time in the cases of wrongdoings, we all like to sweep this issue under the rug. This has been true with the Holocaust, the abortion issue, and even the new situation with asylum seekers. This has occurred throughout human history and can be traced back to the story of Cain and Abel in the book of Genesis. That is where the very end of our gospel has a challenge for all of us today. Jesus is telling us that we all have some cleanup to take care of in each of our lives. My gut instinct, and maybe yours, is to look at everyone else, because Jesus cannot be talking about me. He must mean someone else someone who has done something much more than I ever did. Or maybe it's those people who are not here today, or who do not go to any place of worship. You and I would like to say to ourselves, that's gotta be it. It's not me. We don't have any cleanup to do. But if I was to generally take the last words of the gospel to heart and let them form my way of thinking, I would really feel differently. Jesus said, "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them." Think about that for a moment. Do you really think that if Jesus would be focused on punishing me or any one of us here today? Absolutely not. Jesus would be present right here in our midst, praying with us. What Jesus is concerned with is our restoration, in bringing us back to a spiritual health and returning us to be part of God's loving family. For those of us who like to point out to the sins of others, those who like to push things under the rugs or are just running saying it's not me, we all have to remember that we are all connected as brothers and sisters. We are all God's children and his creation. And God doesn't make any mistakes. We all have a purpose and reason for being here. I don't know what yours is any more than I know what mine is. But the beauty of it all is that God is with us every step of the way. We need to focus on that. We need to ask God daily what he needs us to do and then act on it. We need to listen carefully with our hearts and not just our heads. If we do this, then you and I will see God's beautiful creation and we will feel the healing power of full reconciliation with each other. This is the gift we can give ourselves. Another gift we have available every week is the sacrament of reconciliation. It's available Saturday afternoon here in church. Still another gift we have started on September 6th. It's the RCIA program. If you know someone who is thinking about becoming a Catholic or needs to receive some of their sacraments, like confirmation, this is a great opportunity for them. Don't stick your head in the sand. Invite them to join the program. RCIA meets on Wednesday evenings from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Jerry Peer is a contact person, and you can call the parish office for more information. Encourage anyone you feel who might benefit from this program. As Catholics, we have a mission to spread the word of the good news and to love our neighbor as ourselves. Make this your priority this coming week. Amen.